Hi, my name is Paul Marsh, and today I want to talk about EasyRoads and another extension to the Bridges talk that I've given. What I'm going to talk about today is I've got a scene here with a little terrain, and I've got a couple of raised terrain levels, and I want to put a train track across these two. Now the thing with train tracks is obviously you can't just span this gap here without having some kind of bridge structure, and I want a bridge structure that is a more traditional sort of bridge rather than the pillared bridge which I've seen in a previous example. So let's put a railway track into the scene, and probably easy to see what I'm talking about with an example. So as I mentioned before, if you want to put a train track, so this is actually a HD project as well. So if you want to add a train track in here, then you have to create it from a secondary crossing. So I need to find my crossing, which is quite tricky. See if I can spot it. Secondary train, there we go. So then I click on here and I get my crossing. Now I need to extend this to give me a track. So it gives me the track. I can come in here and delete the connector. So this is my starting track, and if I add a connection point across the way, you can see that, yeah, okay, it goes across, and by default EasyRoads is going to try and just create land underneath that to fill that gap rather than create a bridge. I actually want to put a road through here later. So what we do normally is we go over to the bridges section here of our road. So we've got our road, this is the selected road, look at our bridges, and we go, okay, let's put a pillared bridge on there, for example. We look at pillared bridge and we can activate it, and you can see we've got a couple of pillars either side. Well, it's not exactly what I want, so let's not use that one. Let's go for bridge simple, activate that, and yeah, okay, I could put an insertion point in here and get this pillar to move over. But again, that's not the kind of bridge I want, so it's not very helpful. So we've got this train tunnel bridge, so we activate that. And you can see they'll get a little bridge here, but that's not in the right place. So the issue here is that these bridges aren't located correctly. So if I just remove this insertion point here for a second, I think, yeah. So we're just left with the start and end insertion points. Now, if I click on this and extend the bridge, oops, that's broken. Yeah, can't do that. Okay. Let's just make sure this thing hasn't gone completely awry. Yeah, okay. So I move the first pointer to be kind of where I want the bridge to be. Okay, so we come back over to the connector again. That's me forgetting about this bug. I need to, so we've got the secondary, I don't want to attach. Let's just go to, let's come off, let's come back onto that, and I create a new, instantiate a new connection prefab. Go back to my train, shift click, extend that off again, destroy this one. So now, because it's two separate road networks, I'm hoping that I can just move this over and connect them. So there we have it. So I've managed to reposition the bridge because this section of road is different from this section of road. and the bridge will start at the first marker of a section of road. So that way I've managed to put in my train bridge, and I can now have a road that's going to go through that and give me the effect I want. Okay, it's a little bit convoluted, and as I say, it's not without its errors at the moment, but that's essentially how I can get that bridge system working. And just as a slight aside, just so we can see what's going on, if we move down the train thing here, you can see that this distance is set to 100,000, and really whenever you see these large numbers in EasyRoads, what's basically happening is it's a bit of a kind of fudge to get something working. So for example, if let's just copy that so I remember it. If you move that down to 10, you can see that what's actually happening is you're getting a lot of bridges. Remember, this is the start of the road, so 1, 2, 3 bridges, because the distance between them is only 10, and if the distance between them is only 1, then there isn't enough room for the bridge prefab, so you don't see the hole. At least that you see kind of half the hole, you can see here. And then if it was 100, well, this would be carrying on over here somewhere. I've got enough space. Yeah, there's the next bridge. So that's how the bridge mechanism works. It's just repeating under the road. So when you see that large number, what it's kind of saying is, yeah, you're unlikely to get that distance before you see another bridge. So it kind of feels like you're just building the one bridge, but really it's just because you haven't got enough road to see when it starts repeating. So that's just a little insight. Again, I'm not privy to how EasyRoads works. This is me just trying to figure it out. So we have our bridge and it's in the right position, but if you look underneath it, you can see through it, but also we've got gaps before the bridge and in the terrain. So if we come to our road settings, we should have terrain deformation on. So we come to terrain and we say build, and yay, the gaps are filled, but also the bridge is filled in, and that's really not what we want. So we need to come in here and add an insertion point about here. Let's say there maybe. Okay, realign that. And then we should be able to go back to our road settings, and if we look, we've got this marker selected, so we can come down here, and in the road settings we've got our individual marker settings. So our road is set to, where is it now? Road, it's got terrain deformation on, so that builds the terrain for us. So on our markers, we're on marker 3 of 7, and we can say no terrain deformation. So I'll tick this and you watch the UI here. And let's turn that off for here. So put that back on, and let's have a look at this marker. And that's the bridge. So now when we go back to a terrain and say build, we've now got a nice terrain up to the bridge. The gap is filled. This one's not so good. Yeah, let's come down a bit. So let's go back to the edit mode. Let's lift this marker up a bit. Make sure there's a gap underneath there. See a big gap. Let's move that slightly across to the start of the bridge. And let's build that again. So you can see here that the ground has met the bridge. You can still go under the bridge. Look, there's the mountains. and the ground has come up to the bridge on that side. So with the use of markers and a little bit of checkbox manipulation, we can construct our terrain and bridge correctly. So I hope that's been helpful. Okay, thanks.